And welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Top of Thunder podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Hunzinger at Thunder Chats. We are part of the B-Live Network, and this podcast is brought to you by BetOnline.ag. Now that that's out of the way, we have a very special guest today, a very special podcast. We're going to get to that, but first I got to introduce my co-host and my brothers here. First, we got the one, the only, the crazy Champagne Jerry. What up, Jerry?
Dude, why'd you have to throw the crazy in there this time, man? All right.
Everybody knows.
I'm literally losing my mind right now. No, I'm doing well. I'm happy to be here. Happy to be on this episode. I can't wait for everybody else to listen.
All right, short, sweet, to the point. I like it. And then we've got the man, the myth, the legend, the not so crazy, but he is in the Batmobile patrolling the streets of Gotham, Alex Roywick. What up, Alex?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I got a birthday coming up, so I got 2 Thunder games right. Bookending my birthday, so I hope I get some W's, for my birthday.
There we go.
That's a good birthday wish. I like
Let's
it.
manifest it.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Like I said, we got special pod. We got special guests. Let's get into it. So joining us today is a man who calls Oklahoma City his home. He has worked for some of the biggest companies in the world, including, but not limited to, Nike, Rolling Stone Magazine, ESPN, Grantland, Funny or Die, The Ringer, and now 342 Productions. He has worn many hats in his time covering the NBA, but now he is the puppet master behind one of the biggest podcasts in the world, The Old Man and the Three with JJ Redick. He is a globetrotter, a great follow on Twitter, and shares the last name of the family of one of my favorite TV shows. And he is here to talk about the Thunder's caliber. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Jason Gallagher.
I like puppet master of The Old Man and the Three. That is a nice ring to me, and I'm
put it in your bio.
Yeah, well, I wish I did have a little bit more say on the amount that we talk about golf on the podcast, but other than that,
Well, Jason, man, we're excited to have you on here, man. Like I said before we started, we had to work a little bit to kind of coordinate this, but we got it figured out, and excited to have you on and talk a little bit OKC, man. So thank you for coming on the pod.
Of course, anytime. Thanks for asking.
For sure, man. Well, hey, whenever we have a new guest, we like to ask a few background questions just to, so the listeners can kind of, get to know the people that they're listening to. So right off the bat, man, let's take it way back. What first you got into the game of basketball?
I'm not that dissimilar from other folks. I was a 90s kid, loved watching Michael Jordan. I grew up in Dallas, so I grew up a Mavs fan, and Dirk Nowitzki was awesome to follow. Like just the quintessential Disney character sort of figure throughout his career, very tragic early 2000s and then like a triumphant, sort of middle part of his career. But anyway, so yeah, that's really it. I've always loved the sport. I always thought basketball was just like the best form of like art. I know it sounds like insane, but I'll elaborate on that in a little bit. But I always viewed it as like a Shakespearean almost. And so, yeah, I've always just been a huge fan.
I like it, man. I like it. Yeah. Basketball is an art form. That's awesome. I can't wait to hear about that.
Well, the extent to which I took that was that after college, I moved to Chicago to do Second City Comedy, and quickly realized I'm not that funny on stage, but I like production and I like writing and stuff like that. And so me and a friend, Ben Fort, we co-wrote a 2.5 long musical about the NBA lockout. And the premise was very similar to Romeo and Juliet. It is 2.5 hours, and it is stupid how long it is.
We need to get this
Can
Criterion.
that be found anywhere?
It's on the album's on Spotify still. Yeah, dude. It was a big thing back then. It came out in like 2013, and it was like written about on ESPN. That's how Bill Simmons like got connected with me, as he had heard about that musical, the weird guy who wrote the musical, and things kind of took out from there. So when I say basketball is an art, I am not bullshitting you. I don't know.
Hey, I love
that's
it.
literal.
What's that called?
It's called The Lockout, a musical.
The Lockout. Hey, I'm gonna look it up as we speak. So
Dylan has his driving material for tomorrow. By the way, that's exactly what he's going to.
Dylan, don't do it. Look, there's a couple songs that hold up, but like, if you want to hate, like, if you want to hate yourself, really, write a 2.5 hour long musical and then go try to listen to the music again, because the process is so long and arduous that by the time it like goes out, you're just like, if I ever hear those songs again, I'm
So no, hold on.
I can't
No,
listen to him.
so Dylan is actually our resident like Hamilton lover. Like I eventually got into Hamilton, and I loved that musical. But you know, one time we had Mike Muscala on,
Yeah.
and Dylan wrote a song about SGA to one of the Hamilton
It was
songs,
Guns
like
and
the
Shits.
cadence.
Oh
Yeah,
wow!
Guns and
Did
Shits.
you rap
So
the
like,
fast stuff?
Yeah, that was the part I did.
That's incredible. I gotta
I'm
hear
not,
that.
I'm not,
I feel like there's a Thunder musical coming up in the future because of this podcast.
I'm into it. I mean,
Let's-
you guys know where to find me. I'll go knock on some doors and get some funding for this thing. Let's do it.
Let's
I
call
like
it
it.
Thunderstruck and bring in Kevin Durant.
Oh,
again.
Lord.
Let's just make it happen. That's awesome. Alex, I told you you're getting the second question.
Okay, cool.
So
Okay. So looking at your background as far as, what you just told us, how did you eventually get into the NBA and covering the NBA?
Yeah, I mean, so I always just sort of like liked to I always wanted to entertain people, and I liked sports as an avenue to do that. I have like a very weird, again, like sort of an artistic love of sports, and when I was doing the musical, which again, like it was just sort of random that one kind of took off because we had done some others about other topics, but that one took off. Somebody at ESPN was basically like, you should start a blog and you can like promote yourself, because I wasn't really like online back then. And so I started a blog. It's no longer there, so you can't find it. But it was called ballerball.com, and it was run by myself and Tyler Parker.
yeah.
It was actually a pretty wild cast of characters. There's a guy named CJ Toledano who does a lot of big work with the NBA now. A guy named Tim Bolt, who's in the Rights of Gemstones. He used to write on it. So
Wow.
it was like a pretty wild cast of characters that wrote this, but it was sorry, my phone's ringing. Let me kill. Hold on. You guys can edit around this, right? You're not
For sure.
Sorry about that. Okay.
no, we're live actually. Like, we're really live.
So anyway,
Everybody ask your questions now.
Yeah, seriously. In all seriousness, so we had this ballerball.com, and it was an ESPN like affiliate. They used to do affiliate websites back then, like for blogs they liked. And it was basically satirical. It was like The Onion, but sports. And then that was when I started to write for Grantland and started to do all of these freelancing gigs. I actually was like weirdly an NFL writer for Rolling Stone. I was like, I did their like
So
Sunday
wild.
week, which is so stupid. But yeah, they asked me to do that, and I did that, and then sort of just saw that a lot of my writing, I attached a lot of visuals to it. Like I didn't go to like film school or anything like that, and so I started to sort of self-teach myself like media. So like, obviously filming, editing, everything like that, and then eventually did join the Ringer and became like their first multimedia person, and I'm super proud of the stuff we did there. And then JJ was like, "Come on," and we did it.
That's awesome.
Speaking, so he literally just came up to you and said, "Come on." And
It didn't go exactly like that. There was a little bit more drama in there, but no, I actually hadn't met JJ until I started doing the pod for a while, because it was all during the pandemic. So, but I was like sort of running his pod while he was still at the Ringer, and so he is like, I know I like that guy. And his co-host is Tommy Alter, and Tommy and I have worked together for a long time. I think he always was a fan of mine, and so yeah, that's how it all got started. When I left the Ringer, I was actually like a freelancer, and I was doing all this stuff. I was like Dan Levitard Show and like Crooked Media and Blue Wire and all this other stuff and The Volume, and I eventually just sort of I just sort of like decided to go with one guy, because I was like, I think he's got a really promising career and I'd like to be a part of it. So
yeah. Monogamous, I like it. You're not a freelance.
You get it.
Not a freelancer anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like you made a good choice. I mean, like I said, it's one of the biggest podcasts in the world. Like, this is a day and age where like a lot of like former athletes are coming out with their own podcasts, and I would say, like, for my money, JJ Redick's like Old Man to Three is like probably the best one out there, specifically like basketball wise. So
Yeah,
must be doing something right.
Well, and I think it really does stem from like a very sincere like love of the game. And like when I was working at the Ringer, you can get really like when your whole job is to like give takes and like comment on everything. And the Ringer was so broad. So it was like if an actor died, you had to have a take or like, you know what I mean? Like it was like insane. And I started to get really numb to like being on the internet and like to basketball and everything like that. And JJ is just like he's just like loves it. Like if anyone's listening to this and is skeptical about his like his where he's coming from, it's like so unbelievably nerdy. I'll read you my most recent text from him. This is out of the blue. Just looked up the tracking data on team drives on NBA.com. Obviously only have tracking data since 13-14, but what's wild is drives across the league have gone way up, yet foul shots are still down. Weird. Who does that, dude? Like, like I got a family. I can't be looking on this, you know. And so, but like, it really has like reinvigorated like a real strong passion I have for the game because, it, you know, you getting to know some of the players and you're getting to see some of the behind the scenes and just how much they are like, even though they're all multimillionaires, they are not that different from us in a lot of ways. So, I love it.
So here's my question. Here's my follow-up question is, so you read us that text. What is usually your response?
Just thumbs up emoji.
I said, yeah. I said, yeah, it makes me wonder why there's a perception of the problem. So I like sort of entertain it, but I have no problem telling him like, buddy, like, I don't even know. I don't even
Can't match your energy right now, man.
His memory, like his obsession with it is like a beautiful mind. Like it's crazy. It's crazy.
Oh, dude, he's been one of my favorite players since he was at Duke as a freshman. Like, love that guy all the way through. He hated him very, very much when he was with the Clippers.
Yeah.
For that stretch, that was the most punchable face for a little bit. But no, that's freaking crazy. Just how it all worked out.
Yeah, I love it.
Jerry, you can go ahead and take this next one since we stomped on your last question. So go ahead.
I did that on purpose. I led into that, and you didn't pick it up.
It's a nice segue. He
it was
okay.
Yeah.
Well, Jerry,
Gallagher
you're the most local,
master,
so you go with it.
The puppet master that he is, understood and finished out the question for me. Sorry for the awkwardness.
Do it, Jerry.
This is where the crazy comes in. Sorry. No, so you're an Oklahoma City resident now. All right.
Yeah.
I hope you voted. All right. I hope you voted. What were your thoughts on the news, of us getting the new arena? Were you for, against it? What's like? Well, I mean, I guess you don't have to say that, but what were your thoughts?
I don't mind. I don't mind sharing my feelings on it. Look, I'm a believer in democracy, and I'm glad that the people spoke. And I don't think that there's a black and white to this arena issue. The good is very good, and I think that's a lot to celebrate. And that, to me, is, as somebody who was a little skeptical of the deal itself, I'm just happy people are happy. Honestly, it's like you give the opportunity for people to vote, and they overwhelmingly voted the way they wanted, and that's good. My skepticism probably came from, living in other cities and just like knowing sort of the league at large. I think anyone who knows that and saw the deal was probably like, "Oh my God." But it's there's a ton to like about it, and I'm not one of those people that was. I got in a little trouble because I had said something like, "This is a terrible deal," and then I forgot that I live in Oklahoma City, and like people, I don't know, it's just like everything like blew up. Like I heard from the mayor, I heard from all these people. Oh God! And I didn't really like. I didn't mean to. I shouldn't have poo-pooed on it as hard as I did, and I did just because it is still bad. Like I will say out loud, it's still kind of not the best, but I think, as I said, I think democracy worked. The Thunder are going to be here for a long time. They're building towards something. It's like all very exciting. And I think the Thunder are super important. There's a lot of people that were against the arena that were somehow trying to say like the Thunder aren't important to the city. And I was like, well, that's not accurate.
Yeah, that's definitely not it. Well, somebody that voted yes, that was an absolute terrible deal. I mean, it was, but we didn't have any leverage in the situation whatsoever. We're not we're a flyover city. I mean, let's just be real. We still are, even with all the growth, but a lot of that growth happened because of the Thunder.
Oh, and there's no dispute about that. And anyone, look, I've had several lunches with folks after that, and like talk to people, and like there's zero dispute that the Thunder are crucial to the city and should do what they can to keep it. I think that, I think that again, it's just when you see the deal at its face, you do take a step back, and then you start to wonder, like, can there be a better deal? And when that's only met with sort of like no, or they'll leave, I was a bit like, well, that seems. I don't know. Have you guys ever watched like David Sampson, who owned that Miami team, like talk about this? Like he just like, yeah, you want a new stadium, just threaten to leave. And they were like, were you going to leave Miami? He's like, no. And like that's kind of my assessment of the situation if I were to look at it. But again, like above all else, I'm an American. I believe in democracy, and the people spoke, and overwhelmingly. And like I am genuinely happy. I'm going to raise my kid here. Like, new arena sick. Hopefully Taylor Swift comes. Like that's where I'm at. You know what I mean? It's gonna be exciting. And the what is it? Paycom Center? Yeah, this thing's garbage. Let's go.
No, it's terrible. Somebody that's been to a lot of games was asking me, was just like, what's wrong with it? I was like, we got like 10 bathrooms on each floor. That's it. And
we got like 3 elevators.
Yeah, got 3 elevators, 2 escalators. During playoffs, you literally cannot walk in that place.
I bet. Yeah,
it's literally just a mass of, it's like just ants all taking the best picnic to back home. So
yeah, it's what we know. It's what we know, and we love it.
Yeah, I can't do it anymore. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Hey, I still have an old not that I want this in my life, but like I still remember having to pee in like a horse trough at some of these older stadiums, and
football stadiums are the worst.
Football stadiums are the worst.
They're so gross. It's insane.
It really is.
No, it's
bad, man. No, so I'm happy for everyone here, and I'm excited about it. I genuinely am. What am I going to sit here and bitch about it? Like, there's nothing to bitch about. It's an arena vote. Yeah. That's the only thing I hate about this whole thing was like people got really nasty, and I was like, guys, it's an arena. Mm-hmm. Let's all take a beat.
Oh man.
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, and me like being in Kentucky, like a lot of people were like, you need to tell people to go vote for the arena. I'm like, listen, man, like I have no ground to stand on. I'm like telling people how they should spend their money. Like I was rooting for for the arena because like I like coming to visit my friends and see my favorite team in OKC. Like I enjoy that experience, but I was joking with the guys. I'm like, listen, like I'm rooting for you guys, but if not, Louisville. Let's send the team over here to Louisville, so I can be a little bit closer. But
I'm like a very I can't believe we're talking about politics. I come at politics from a very idealistic standpoint. So I always like sort of want the best. Like you want the best. And the conversation I had with Mayor Holt, we basically settled on like he's a realist. I'm a citizen who is an idealist, which is what a functioning society needs to be well. And that's what we do.
That is the beautiful thing about Mayor Holt is he's a realist.
Dude, and I think he was always super kind to me, even when I sort of disagreed with some of the things he said. But like they were like splitting hairs, they weren't like he has a fan because it's just simply the way that we talked about this arena thing. So yeah, I'm glad people are happy. I'm honestly glad it's over because like the one thing now that the dust has settled. The big league city slogan, like that's a baseball term. Like, what are we doing, guys? We come up with a better one.
I need to go find a yard sign so I can just hang it up somewhere and keep it forever. So got an extra yard sign, drop it off.
Put it on that bare backdrop you got there.
I saw the yard sign for the folks who did the opposing.
Oh, there were really some of those.
There were yard signs, and guys, like it was like the most boring. I just like if you're
black and gold. Yeah.
No, it was like dark green, and the font was like this big, and it was just like.
Oh, that was dark green.
And it said arena, some of them.
Yeah. But it was so boring. Like at least the other one was like big and bright and bold, and you put it in front of your yard, you look like a fun person. Like you put that other one in, you're like, dude, I don't want to go to that guy's house. Like, you know what I mean?
He's got plastic on the couches. We're not going there.
I was like, you're not even trying, guys. Who cares? Yeah. But it was funny when I said that. When I said like. Basically what I said was like I thought it was a bad deal, and the amount of people that try to get me to like speak at like events and like things like that. I was like, no, I'm not like a political activist here. Like, this is just a guy with a Twitter account.
Not gonna be your spokesperson, man.
Line, you know,
you should have said, "How much you paying?"
Dude, you think I'm talking about this in the sober light of the day? Are you kidding?
Carry this picket sign. Carry this picket sign.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Kind of bringing it back to the team. You know, we talked a lot. I mean, we talked about the background. We talked about the arena. You know, the arena is like topical, but like, let's get into this team because it's a very fun team to watch. It's been a year a lot of people weren't expecting, but either way, like, it's been a lot of fun. So I want to ask you as we kick off this discussion, what were your expectations for the team coming into this season?
Honestly, I was like I think they'll be like a top 4 seed in the West. Person, only because I thought the parity in the league was pretty like crazy, and they've just been playing in such a consistent system. Like, I'm a big believer in continuity being like in a league with so many superstars. Like it's actually crazy how much talent there is, and what's the big separator? It really is like, how familiar are you with your teammates? I mean, we even saw that with the Nuggets last year. We saw that in FIBA basketball, where you have these teams that have just been playing together forever. And like, weirdly, like, the Thunder remind me of one of those FIBA teams that just gels. Like, they just gel so well together. And there's a hierarchy and there's an order to things. And like, that's stuff that like most locker rooms haven't even like worked out. Like, they walk in and it's like one guy wants to score more than the other guy, but he's pissed because he's got to do it. You know what I mean? And it's like, from what I can tell, both, you know, on what I'm watching and even behind the scenes, like, there's not really much of that on the Thunder. And I think that has given me a lot of hope for their season. When you look at the West, I don't believe in like the sort of like traditional way we used to build super teams. So I didn't have a lot of faith in Phoenix. Denver is sort of has that like sort of next morning kind of malaise, but they're the best team in the West, still. But I guess the Wolves were the biggest surprise. But like, I thought Dallas was going to suck. I'm a Dallas fan. I thought they were going to be way worse. So yeah, I don't know. I was just like, the Thunder, I was like, they're a steady rock if people stay healthy. So.
Amen,
most
brother.
definitely.
Amen.
Just parenting to you guys at this point.
So okay. So SGA. So you talked about, you know, they are very cool, calm, collected. So SGA, probably the best player on the team. What accolade do you think he will get by the end of the season? Like, are we talking about MVP? Are we talking about All-Star Game starter? Are we talking about maybe even defensive team? You know, what kind of accolades do you see SGA grabbing by the end of the season?
Sure. I will say this, that like he better be first team. I'll just say that. I'm a Luka fan, and I think very firmly it should be him and Luka. I was watching the game 2 nights ago, the Mavericks game, and Luka was playing with Dante Exum, Derek Jones Jr., Markieff Morris, and Jaden Hardy, and I was like, guys, he is like, he needs so much help. It's crazy, even though they're like still okay in the standings. Like, dog, that's you talk about continuity, just throw it out the window. But I still think firmly those two are the best two. And then you're gonna have your like worldwide Steph fans that are just gonna like. So I think in terms of all-star starter, I'll be really interested to see, because I think Steph will be, just based on his fandom and the fan vote. But then I think it's going to be between Luka and Shea. And it'll be really interesting because it's a fan vote, and it's going to be like Canadians voting for Shea and like Slovenia.
Yeah.
And I just think at that point, in my opinion, you're kind of splitting hairs, because it's they're both great in their own way. So, but I think in terms of first team, right now, if I were to pick, it's those two, and I think it's like clear above everybody else. And then in terms of Shea's MVP, situation, I don't know. I mean, it's like the tough thing is I think narratively speaking, he has a lot on his side. I think the Thunder being this exciting, and them exceeding a lot of people's expectations really works in his favor. If there was ever a year to sort of like surprise people, this is the one. And so I think top 3 is in play. I mean, I think that like, you know, he'll need like the Embiids of the world to chill out. And Embiid is like kind of on that other level.
Put up like what, 51 and 12 today?
Yeah, and it's just sort of like I didn't think he got enough credit last year, even for the Ben Simmons. Just like the last 3 years have been just
navigating everything.
Oh my gosh. And to sort of continue to be that rock on that team, like I still don't think he gets enough credit for that part, because that sort of like still keeping your locker room together amidst this sort of drama-filled bullshit. Tyrese Maxey seems like an awesome guy, so it seems like that's working out. But Embiid, I think, is probably seems like he's the heavy favorite right now. But I think I think it's possible. It's like SGA is right there. And I've looked at a bunch of ladders and rankings, and it sort of ranges anywhere from Embiid, Jokic, SGA. I've seen Luka. I don't think he'll get it because the team sucks, but it's just I don't know. I think SGA has the best chance of the guard for sure.
What do you think needs to happen for him to win? Like, how do you think the team needs to finish? And what do you think needs to happen maybe like around that like periphery? Like, you know, Philly falls off like maybe 2 spots.
Oh man. I think taking out the health thing, I think I think I think there would have to be a pretty big separator between their teams. Because I just don't see Embiid chilling out. And I don't like we kind of have overlooked Jokic, but yeah, I was listening to our guys on the Dunker Spot. They do a podcast with us, and they were talking about like, if you take out 2 Jokic games, he's having like the greatest season ever. Yeah. And it's sort of like those 2 games are such outliers for him. Which in some ways makes me funny. So I'm like, so what, am I just not supposed to count bad games anymore? But those are like so rare, so it's like Jokic is still very much like there, and then like obviously Giannis, I think he's learning to play with Dame, which is making him more of a monster. I don't know, it's just crowded. It's like super early. Right now I have Shea think top 3, but I can be talked a lot of different ways at any given moment. Talk to me in an hour and it might change.
I want to know, like, when's the last time like the NBA had like 6 or 7 30-point scores? Like, the talent in this league is just crazy.
I know. And it's really crazy when you consider that like Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and Steph Curry are very much still very impactful players in this league. And I don't think that any of them are in a conversation right now. You know, and it's like, that's just how good. That's how good guys are playing. So again, I'm a big believer in narrative really mattering, and SGA right now I think is rightfully so benefiting from some really good narratives, and he will hopefully take advantage of those and continue to excel. You know, because again, it's like we had Jason Tatum on the podcast one time, and he's like, sometimes the worst thing I think that happened in my career was that I like came out hot, you know, and I feel that way about Luka sometimes, where it's like you come out hot, you create this weird expectation, and then all of a sudden, if you're not averaging like 35 and like 15, you're like always gonna be like 3rd or 4th on the MVP. And me being a Luka fan, I've noticed that too. I'm sort of just like, Luka's incredible, like playing the best basketball of his life this season, but like, you know, the Mavs.
I mean, hell, we had that as a team in the first iteration of the Thunder, you know, with Durant, Westbrook, Harden, where they got way too good, way too fast, and then the expectation after that was always like championship or bust, basically.
Oh, if you're a Thunder fan listening to this podcast, just relish in this year, just like soak in it and enjoy it, because once the expectations come, that's when like you're gonna get your Stephen A's and them starting to like talk crap. Does SGA really have it? You know, and like that's coming too. And that's going to be annoying. And then you're going to wake up and you get on Twitter and get pissed and start atting people. And like, that's where I am.
That was every day with Russell Westbrook.
So it's like these years where it's like fun to root for like an up and coming team. Like there's nothing better in sports, I think, honestly.
So moving on to, you know, one of our other studs that we got. Does Chet win the Rookie of the Year?
Oh yeah, like that. I'm not even thinking about it. Yes, can we call it? I'll call it right now.
All right, good.
We're calling it.
Yeah, tweet it. It's out. It's done.
Yeah.
Look. I'll say this. I think Wemby is awesome, and I think that the Spurs are like. I don't know how much you guys have watched the Spurs, but like they're playing him really weird, and I'm not a fan of that. Like they don't really run plays for him, which is insane. But by what we've heard sort of on the like Tim Leggo was on our podcast and he was talking about how like he feels like Pop is trying to protect him like in a way, like he doesn't want like any added pressure. So it's like just really weird. And so they don't really run anything for him. And anytime he scores, he's like, it's like by accident or like an offensive rebound or like the ball found him with like 6 seconds left on the shot clock. He's got to make a move. Like there's very few set design plays for Wemby, which is like sort of crazy. And it speaks to how good he is, that he is still as effective as he is. But I think just on both ends, Chet, the winning record, like I kind of don't even think it's a contest right now. They're just at two different points of their careers. And Chet is with awesome players, and he is also meeting every expectation. And I've always thought he's going to be awesome. I'll get like every time we have a player on, like there's always talk before or after the podcast or whatever. And there isn't a single player that has not been like, dude, Chet is like he's for real. Like they play like the pickup games with them in the summer. They were like, one guy was like, dude, he was calling guys out, like veteran guys, and just being like owning them. I was like, dude, yes. So I've been excited to watch Chet for a while. I'm really high. I've been high on him for a bit. I think he's going to win Rookie of the Year. I don't think it's going to be close.
So Rookie of the Year, great. What about All-Star Game?
Yeah. I really haven't thought much about.
You like the kombucha girl?
No, honestly, I haven't paid attention to like the reserve part of the All-Star. Like who's his main competition? Like who are the people talking about?
Şengün is somebody that people have been throwing out there.
He's been fun.
Şengün, probably Zion. I mean, the duo in Minnesota, Gobert and Towns. I mean,
that's a fun All-Star game.
Yeah.
Do we like how fun is a Rudy Gobert All-Star? I will say
never again. No, never again.
But only if there's a draft, because the draft is very funny. If he's
yeah.
I think he's super fun. It's like I'd like to see him in it. I don't know if I guess I don't know enough about the peripheral. I mean that nicely. It's sort of like the borderline All-Stars to like know who should be. I don't have like a strong take on that. But he would be more fun than any of the names you've listed. So
I like that. Kind of sticking with Chet a little bit, because this was a talking point in the offseason, and it's even kind of resurfaced during the season just because of some of the games that have happened. But do you think that OKC is maximizing Chet's talent by playing him at the 5, or do you think that he'd be better off kind of like San Antonio was using Wemby early on as the 4, kind of let him roam around on defense?
Honestly, like I kind of I could really be talked into both. I guess I've enjoyed him at the 5. I have a tendency to enjoy small lineups, but it's all matchup dependent, I think. And I think that's kind of what's making him awesome. He's like extremely versatile player.
Yeah.
And that team is extremely versatile. And that's got to be so much fun to coach. Like, I don't know. Like I could see both working in a playoff series. I really could. I'm not just hedging. I have a lot of takes, and that one I'm just kind of like, oh God, I don't know.
Kind of cut one up on that. I did want to ask you this because there's been, obviously Shea and Chet have been playing great together, playing phenomenally together. And this is just their first year playing together. Like they haven't even played a full half season yet.
It's insane.
Where would you rank them as a duo league wide right now?
Wow. Man, I should have thought about this question. They're top tier. They're top tier. Like, I think that
top 10.
Oh, yeah, right.
Oh, obviously, that's not even. That's not even a question. No, seriously, that's not. If you just break it down, that's not even a question.
Okay,
top 5, I think, would get kind of like dicey, really and truly.
Yeah, I think you can make an argument. Like, I'd just be interested to see, like, who you're thinking.
Who I think is better as a duo. Well, it's very interesting because it's like you can think about duo as like complementary pieces or just straight up duo. So like, I think the best duo in the league is Jokic and Murray because of how they play together and they're complementary. And you can use them together to maximize themselves, and then separately they're very good. And I think Chet and SGA are very similar. So I do have them. If you're talking about complementary pieces, I do have them quite high in terms of just like two most talented players. Like, you know, LeBron AD is pretty high up there. Like it's just in terms of pure talent, like Luka Kyrie's pretty up there. Even some of the
Giannis Dame.
Yeah, Giannis Dame, you know, and that's still a TBD, you know, that's still a TBD, but they look like they're figuring each other out pretty good. Honestly, Harden looks awesome on the Clippers. It's insane. And in a lot of ways, it's just like Kawhi's become the alpha. Like there's no more like, we're going to figure out Kawhi's the alpha. He is the one. And that one, I can't even see like a duo thing, but like Fox and Sabonis also play very well. So yeah, there's a bunch that are just like really good. Like, you know, Booker Durant, like in a 2-on-2, like they might win it all. But in terms of NBA basketball, the actual NBA basketball, a duo, Chet and SGA are high, like high. I don't know. I don't know if someone's getting mad at me, but I think I fuck it. Top 5, whatever.
I like it. Yeah, I'm thinking complimentary wise. Because
I was like 6 or 7, but
you won't find
who are
anybody
you 6 or 7 ahead of them?
Wait, well, no, pretty much everybody that you mentioned, like they're proven. You know what I mean? Like some are proven, some of them aren't. But just I mean, you just look at a few of them. Some of them are still very new, like ours, though, and it's like, but like Jamal Murray and Jokic one was like the perfect one to start off with, and just move down from there because
it's Jokic and Murray. It's honestly Braun and AD when they're healthy and together. They're amazing. I think Tatum and Brown are really good together.
Yep.
Even though they're not as complementary, they don't run like a lot of pick and roll with each other, but they're just they're good at like figuring out when the other is like hot, and they help each other. And Maxey and Embiid is another great one. So yeah, like I guess the 5 to 8 range feels right, but I think a lot of people hedge because honestly, like they're not on national TV as much as they should be. The Spurs being on national TV 19 times is
ridiculous,
an abomination. I know I've dropped a couple of F-bombs. I'm going to try to hold back.
No, it's fine. I do it all the time.
We have explicit tag.
Yeah, watch it.
Pathetic. They need to rejigger that because how many national TV games do the Thunder have?
7 or 8.
That's a
7 or 8, yeah.
It's an absolute, and the Wolves too. They put them on TV. Let's go. Come on.
Yeah.
Flex on, man.
Baby.
Flex on those Spurs games. Talking about them as a duo, I was thinking more like complimentary just because, like, offensively, like, obviously you can run them pick and roll, but like defensively, you've got the steals leader by far in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and then one of the best shot blockers in the NBA, and Chet Holmgren. Have you heard the nickname that's starting to go around for him?
No, what is it?
The stock market.
Ooh.
Because the steals and the blocks.
I love that. I actually really love that.
Start pushing it, man. It's going to catch on.
All right. Who started it? Did y'all start it? Or is that just...
No. It was actually, let me find it. It's some dude on Twitter. His name is @SamBallTalk. So shout out Sam. He does listen. So shout out Sam. He came up with that, I think 2 days ago. So
nice.
That is beautiful.
That's awesome.
So, okay. So speaking about duos, so we have Shai, we have Chet. But, just like that guy on the infomercials at Saturday night at 2:00 in the morning. But wait, there's more. Is Jalen Williams the perfect complementary piece for those two guys?
Yeah.
I love that answer. Yeah, that's fine.
I love the certainty.
I love Jalen Williams. And, I wasn't there, so I don't know. But a little birdie told me they were talking to Manu Ginobili, and Manu said Jalen Williams reminds me of me, and he's one of my favorite players.
Wow.
He is you can't put that on a quote card because it's not verified, and if you do, whatever. It is
we're definitely clipping that.
But it made me think man, he is he's I don't know, he's one of my favorite players. I just love he's got such a cool vibe too. He's just easy to root for, really likable. And as a complimentary piece, just his versatility too. it's just I'm so jealous of the Thunder. I'm just so jealous. They're so perfect. It pisses me off.
Do you? Okay, complimentary, yes, but and I don't want to get too dark on this podcast. It's been all love and positivity, but do you think that in the future there could be the possibility of like a Harden situation where this guy is just so good
Yes.
that he almost needs his own team in order to flourish?
Yes. I think he's that good. And like that's a compliment. Like again, it's a compliment to him and to the development that the Thunder have. But like, I think he's that good. I think he's really, really, he's the man.
Agreed.
Unfortunately, I guess fortunately and unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly.
But luckily, you have about 1 billion draft picks to figure it all out. So
you got to keep that stockpile rolling in. Those rookie contracts run out. So, just by the way, I'm going to skip this next question.
Why?
Give it to me. Come on.
No, okay. All right. So I am totally against this question. I cannot believe this is even coming out of my mouth. Because I would never, for the record. He's the best ever at what he does. I mean, what he's here for. So I don't want to hear it. But do you think that Lou Dort's here for the long term? Because he absolutely fucking is. I don't even want to hear your answer. He's here forever.
No pressure.
Cannot take him away.
He's our resident Dort lover. Go ahead and do your greeting to Dort every podcast that you're on.
Man, Lou, if you're listening, I love you and I hope you're doing well, man.
That's very nice.
Yeah,
that's very nice.
That's how I feel about the guy. No one plays defense better than Lou Dort. I don't care. Argue a wall. If he was 4 inches taller, he would absolutely dominate everybody.
If he was 4 inches taller, he'd be making $30 million a year.
Yeah, nobody's arguing that.
Oh no, but you guys still want to trade him because he didn't take enough corner threes for you guys.
Wait,
or he didn't finish at the rim.
Your question to me was, do I think he's here for the long haul?
And I'm just telling you he is.
Oh, okay. So good question. So do I have an opportunity?
Reverse. It was a reverse.
No. You answered for me. I don't want to answer.
I'm totally kidding. I'm sure people would want to hear your take and not mine.
I don't have a take. It's like, why are you stockpiling draft picks if not to just trade those? Just trade those.
Thank you.
But if you were to trade a valuable player,
it's Bertans. That's
wow,
who
so
it
valuable, so valuable.
guys. I was on the Mavericks last year, and
that's true.
Man, he can. The highs are so high, and the lows, which are very frequent, are extremely low.
Oh yeah,
but
we haven't had many highs yet.
Work out. Yeah.
No, you had that one preseason game where he was like 7 for 7.
Yeah, the preseason game. I would say we've had a glimpse, and that was it. And it's just been it's the wings have been falling off that plane ever since.
He had that one where he dribbled to the right corner and like turned like all the way around, just like flung it up and it went in too. That was cool.
That was the high. That was the high.
I tweeted a photo right after that. I tweeted a photo of the guy who sings the Richmond North of Richmond song. I just tweeted that photo and it was like, Bertans tonight. That thing blew up. It's like, for whatever reason, the first time I saw that guy's music video, I was like, that's Bertans.
That's amazing.
That's how you know you're an NBA sicko, is when you everyone's arguing about politics and you're like, that guy looks like Bertans.
Well, we're talking about Bertans a little bit, and I don't think he's going to be able to answer this question. But, outside of the starters, who do you think is the most impactful role player on this team?
A
couple different directions you can go. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only one basketball Jesus. I'm just gonna say that.
Who are you talking about? Poku?
No.
Please no.
No, absolutely.
Wiggins.
I like
Wiggins.
The other Jalen Williams. I like a lot.
Love him.
And is Isaiah Joe starting? He's not starting, right?
No,
he's on
sixth man.
I freaking love him.
He's awesome.
Is it like, are people like him, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's my answer. That's my answer.
My daughter loves him.
I think he's awesome. I'm like a big
man.
So speaking of him, whenever we came back on you guys 25 at our place. He's the one that I just had to throw that out there. I was at that game actually, so it was.
Who's the Thunder version of that guy? Like, when you play a player and you're like, is this the best player ever? Why are they the best player ever?
I'll take your pick.
That was who was it? Aaron Holiday a couple days ago against
Aaron Holiday.
Yeah,
Reggie Jackson was that for us forever. I was like, why isn't Reggie Jackson's jersey already retired? Like
he's done it to us too. Yeah, done it to us. Yeah.
Who's the guy in Sacramento that
Monk?
Guy that just
Malik Monk?
You had Vazenkov.
No. He was a little guard, that just kept pounding SGA and.
Dellavedova?
Oh, Keon Ellis.
Oh,
Keon Ellis.
Keon,
yeah. Freaking all those guys, man. They always have games against us.
Yeah, we've got legendary Thunder Killer. Like you could do like a whole starting lineup of Thunder Killers. JJ Barea was like the one for a long time. So there you go. You can hang that over our head.
And Dirk killed us in those playoff runs.
Well, he's supposed to kill.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I got you. But still, man, what he did in the Western Conference the year that he won the championship was otherworldly.
Everyone always says like, man, those finals. But I was like, peak Dirk in those playoffs was against the Thunder. Like, unfortunately, I think because the defenders were so like sort of renowned. So it was like what he was doing against Ibaka and these guys. It was like, oh my gosh.
We threw Ibaka at him. We threw freaking Bobo, KD, like Perkins. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
All right. So, I got it. So we're here, number 2 in the West, 17-8. Do you think it's too soon for OKC to be buyers?
No.
Okay, so what kind of buyers? Because I mean, you could be buyers and buy like mid-level.
Are we great? We shopping at Save a Lot or?
Yeah, we shopping at Save a Lot. We shopping at I don't know any high-end stores.
Whole Foods.
Whole Foods.
Yeah, there you go. Whole Foods.
Sprouts.
Look, I think with again, you go through a rebuild obviously to gain assets or whatever, but it's also to develop your talent. I don't think you spend this long to just throw a big wrench in it. And so I wouldn't even want to be a buyer. Like a big, I don't want to go to like Whole Foods or whatever, I actually think that like complementary pieces. One of the big things that was like an education thing for me was we do this video series called Islands in the League. And if you're thinking about the trade market or whatever, this is great. This one little monologue JJ did on the trade market. And it was essentially that it's incredibly rare to trade for a big time player and then win. Like it will have to take a couple years to happen. And there are some exceptions to the rule, but the exceptions are like pretty far and in between. Like you're talking like Clyde Drexler, like that, you kind of have to go back super far to think back.
Kawhi.
And Kawhi. Yeah. Those were like the main examples. And then, but there are a lot of examples of bringing in complementary role players that have changed, just taking it up just a little bit. And I think that's where the Thunder should want to be. And if I'm a fan, that's where I want to be. Back before anyone knew what the season was going to be, back before the Dame trade, I had heard people be like, we gotta go all in for Embiid. And it's like, I mean, first off, it'd be sick, but it's sort of like, I don't know. That's like you're sort of starting from scratch in some ways. Every time you bring in a personality that big, because again, usually with those big, awesome skill sets comes big, awesome personality. So yeah, I don't
big, awesome expectations.
Yeah, exactly. And so I've seen some of the trade names floating around for the Thunder, and by and large, like it seems like, the biggest name that seems to be constantly coming up is Markkanen. And he has he sort of like strikes me as the kind of person that's like maybe the best case scenario of like a high profile player, if that makes sense. Yeah. So it's like I don't think he's disrupting the locker room that much. I don't think he's disrupting the current existing flow that much. And you know, and he could play like a real wild card kind of role. And that's always fun to have. I always believe that like every team should have like a wild, just nothing's working, go to work kind of guy. And he is like pretty awesome. So I don't know. That's probably the one of all the ones I've read. That's probably like my favorite. I could see a world where they could fit pretty seamlessly if he's okay not starting, although might start him. So it's sort of like, yeah, I don't know. I also have like this fever dream of Durant coming back. But that would be quite the personality to bring in.
Yeah.
I'd rather go climb Devon and jump off of it than
you wouldn't accept it?
I couldn't, man.
Can I tell you why? Can I try to convince you why right now?
Oh, he's the perfect compliment.
Okay, go ahead and I'll tell you kind of my whole take on it.
Okay,
like, the whole thing, but just a little bit.
Throw basketball out the window. I'm just literally talking about why. Because I think that he is a clear like top 15, top 20 player of all time. And he is one of the all-time greats. And I cannot think of a single all-time great who doesn't really have a home in some ways. And I think because of that, his reputation or his legacy might be in a little like overlooked, you know, like in some ways, because like if he doesn't have any stands in his corner, then like who's going to stand up for him 10, 15 years after he retires? Everyone's just gonna be like, oh yeah, you know, and they're just gonna constantly overlook him. And I think his career is too good. He's too good for us to just be like dismissive. And so I personally would love a reunion just so, and I would love for him to like have a reunion, take sort of back seat to these new guys and help the Thunder actually win a championship. I mean, I think it'd be awesome. I think his jerseys should be retired here regardless, but like, I think it would be awesome. So awesome if eventually he like got to be that kind of like more mentor type role in the organization. Because I care about like the legacy of the game, and I care about these modern players. And I think
Sam will never bring him back. Let's just say that. I mean, he's shown us the guy that he took care of for the next couple of years afterwards in Russell.
Pro sports, man, you have a short memory in pro sports. I could see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, but he, from a basketball point of view, he ruined basketball for those couple of years.
Yeah,
like it wasn't even fun, you know. And that's kind of like the decision that I stand on because I am a competitor. I like put me against the best. Right?
Jerry's gonna cut his nose to spite his face.
No, but I agree with you. He is one of the best players ever. Absolutely is. You know what I mean? Hands down. But I just don't see it happening. Would it be cool? Maybe. But like at the same time, it makes me want to puke.
I don't know you that well, but man, I bet you'll get a little chills when you're like, oh man, Durant's helping us win a title.
I'd rather have Russ, man. Like how big of a fan that I am. I mean, my daughter's named after Russell's wife.
Nina?
Like, yeah. Like that's how big of a fan I am.
I love Russ. I'm a big Russ. I will defend him with my life. I love him. He's my all-time favorite non-Maverick, Russell Westbrook.
Hey,
nice.
You just got all those fans that didn't like you because of the arena thing. You just got them back.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? He's like the best. Like he's the most passionate, most exciting in his prime, the most exciting player I've ever seen. Yep. And I think he's so fun, and he seems to be a joy to play with. Every single one of his teammates love him, except for maybe Durant. But you know what I mean? It's like, dude, he's the best.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, we can agree on that.
Yeah.
There you go.
We can agree on that.
You're back in Jerry's good graces now.
No, I don't disagree with you. It's just like I just wouldn't want him back from a fan perspective.
I get it.
And there are people that are in Jerry's boat like that.
Oh,
like,
I'm sure.
Are too far gone on that.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I think it's two things can be true at once. Durant could and should be able to do whatever the hell he wants.
Absolutely.
It's tell that he went to Golden State. I will always. I'm a fan first. Like I'm sort of like, you know, I'm like I am also a competitor, and it's sort of unfathomable to me. But again, it's like he wanted to do it and then won titles and it worked. So
yeah.
But not everything is so black and white. There's a cost for that, and part of the cost is that Golden State fans have sort of turned on him. Like Brooklyn fans don't like him. Phoenix, what is going on? I don't know, man.
He doesn't have a home, man. That is sad. That is sad for a top
super
15
sad.
player.
He's an all-time great, and he can,
like go home to Washington D.C. Go over there, make it happen. About to be Norfolk, Virginia here soon, but they can make it happen. I can see it happening.
I love it.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'll go ahead and ask here. So we talked briefly about trades. Obviously Laurie and KD will be awesome. Fit wise will be amazing. You mentioned some like complementary pieces. Is there like any like kind of like on the fringe complementary players you would like to see OKC target?
Man, Jerry. Oh, keep going. Okay, I got you. I thought he was talking. Like I wanted to stand and talk and proclaim the role player he wanted. Yeah. I don't have any names off the top of my head, but I do think that complementary role players are what should be targeted. You know who's like, you guys may be able to think about, but who's like a perfect type of player is kind of like a Malik Monk, who's just, again, like I think that Thunder have a lot of like perfect fits, and every team can use a little bit more shooting. Every team can use a little bit more 3-and-D. One of my favorite players for the Mavericks over the last 10 years was Dorian Finney-Smith, and I hear he's on the trade block, and it's sort of like that kind of guy would be freaking awesome because he is a defensive nightmare, and like he guarded other team's best players. For us, he's probably like slowed down a little, but like just good guy, no drama. JJ played with him, one of his favorite teammates ever, just like awesome dude. He can shoot the heck out of the ball. So yeah, he's like a type of player that I would love to see. I mean, like, yeah, it's like those long 3-and-D guys. Like you can never do enough of those. So, and Dorian's never going to be like a Malik Monk, like I say, where he's not going to just like be the spark plug that you kind of need. Like those 2011 Mavs, like we throw Brea in and be like, all right, go kill him. And it was great. And so that's sort of the one thing, like I kind of have like two different minds on that, where it's like a spark plug type player for the playoffs, because not to ramble, but like, and I keep referencing the podcast because that's like essentially where I get all my information.
Absolutely do it.
But we, you sit in a room and you learn stuff, but it's like Missoula was talking about bringing KP in, and basically like the playoffs taught me that you need a curveball basically. And he was like, when you're doing when you're adjusting to their adjustment, they're adjusting to your adjustment. And it kind of comes to this kind of game. He was like, you need a curveball. You need something to switch something up. And I don't think that the Thunder have fully seen what that looks like yet on a defensive situation. So that's why I feel like a curveball type player, and I say Malik Monk, he's not available. So I don't know why name, but that type of player who is like, oh my God, Malik Monk had 42 tonight. Or like, what happened? Like that type of player would be cool. If not that, then I think a 3-and-D, like a Dorian Finney-Smith, who, might be available. That'd be cool.
Very much would welcome that. He's like my new agenda. Like, obviously like Laurie is like the one that I want the most. Hashtag Oklahoma City Thunder. But Dorian Finney-Smith is like my role player agenda. So like,
so when we
don't ever do that again, by the way.
Laurie.
It looks better in typed out.
Yeah, don't ever say that out loud.
Say it one more time. I gotta get this. What is it?
Oklahoma City Thunder.
Wow, no.
Gotta call it Big Laurie City.
We'll type it out.
Make a shirt. We'll make a shirt.
Whenever we moved to Oklahoma City, we were kind of like, it was pandemic and my wife bought a bunch of chicks for some reason. and she was like, I'm buying these chicks. We're going to raise these chicks. And then her parents live on a farm in Kansas. And so we got to. Oh God, there we go.
Look at how terrible that looks.
It does it low. Anyways, but one of the chicks we loved Dorian so much we named one of the chicks Dorian Finney chick.
Oh wow,
that's amazing.
Is Dorian still alive?
Oh,
the chick.
Like Finney Smith. I'm pretty sure he's alive, but no, the chick. I have no idea. We will have to. We'll have to consult the folks on that one. No, Dorian Finney-Check, # Dorian Finney-Check. No, he actually is like was my son's like favorite player, which is crazy. He was like ranking players in the league, and he was like 1 Luka, 2 Giannis, 3 Dorian Finney-Smith.
That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
That's the way my daughter associates Lou Dort too. It's Shea and then Lou Dort. It's perfect.
We all need that kind of player.
Yeah.
Right, kind of wrapping up the Thunder conversation here. So, you mentioned at the top of this, you had us as a top 4 seed coming into the season. For much people, like we've exceeded expectations. Like we're much better than a lot of people thought we were going to be. How we've played so far and how the league's kind of shaping up. What's your final prediction for the Thunder's record and standing?
I think just under 50 wins. Okay. And then I think top 4 seed. Like I'm holding on to it. I think that, I mean, granted, like you lose 3 games, you're like all of a sudden the 9th seed, like everybody else. But again, I think that they're just getting they're having like these really crucial big wins. Like I keep watching, and it's like that win against Denver, like just a regular season win, but it's sort of like, I don't know, man, that builds character. That kind of win builds confidence and character for the next time that situation comes up and eventually into the playoffs. And so I have like a lot of faith in them. And again, the West is full of parity, and a lot of people said this is not original take, but like everything's going to be matchup dependent. I don't think there's going to be a huge difference between the 1 seed and the 2 seed, especially if the 1 seed has to play the Warriors and everyone's healthy, and you know what I mean? It's like just gonna be crazy. And I think that the best thing for any of these teams is that the hardest, they're sort of like peers or whatever you want to say, their main competition could get knocked off by somebody else. And so the Thunder, just got to build that continuity. And then I kind of think anything can happen in the playoffs, even though I think Denver is a heavy favorite. It's like if Denver hits like the Clippers and they're rolling, and then all of a sudden hits like the Suns and then the Thunder, it's like that's a hard stretch of games. So I don't know, it's gonna be interesting, but I have them as a top 4 seed still.
Okay, I like it. Home court advantage, that's the goal. But yeah,
are they gonna bring back that Thunder alley? Let's do that.
Bring that back.
Somebody got
leave your guns at home.
Yeah. I think that's why they ended it.
Go outside anymore? Like, look, here's if I was in the room for the stadium negotiations, I would have said, look, basketball tickets are not cheap. And we understand that we're going to be taxing people for an arena in which you have to have money to go inside. Let's bring back the alley, because that is something that everybody can enjoy. And it is for the community. It could feel like, so I feel like that's got to be a part of it. Like I was so like, I was so into that. I watched it. I wasn't living here, but I was watching it on TV, and I was like, man, that's cool. What the Raptors do.
Jurassic Park was wild.
Yeah, so fun.
I think we might get something very close to that with the new arena, though. I think we are. Like,
Jerry dropping some intel?
No, it's just the way that they're. Yeah, no, it's just
to make it.
No, absolutely not. It's just the way that new arenas are being built. None of them are built the old way, quote unquote. They're all huge, just areas, and that whole area they're talking about turning it into a full-on entertainment district from top to bottom. I mean, that development project, it may not get that tall. The big skyscraper that everybody was been talking about for the last week.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it may not be that big, but still, that stuff is coming. Like it's happening down there. So I think we're going to get something like that. Thunder Alley will be back, hopefully with more security and better people that don't bring guns to activities like that.
Maybe we don't call it an alley this time, because an alley just
that's kind of sketch.
Negative connotation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe it's like Thunderland. I don't know.
I'm behind it. Yeah, Thunderland. Let's just rename it. Yeah,
let's go.
Or we can call ourselves the Storm Chasers, but not do all the crazy shit that those guys do in the arena. Just hang out.
The Thunder security. Yeah, we're good. We've got this figured out.
Jason, it's been a pleasure, man. I'll see you.
Alex gotta go back to work.
No, I get it.
Yeah. So it'll probably happen, and I can't wait.
Yeah, that'd be amazing, man.
Like dead ass, I stayed in Oklahoma City because it got passed. I was gonna move if it didn't get passed.
Really?
Oh yeah, that's how serious I was about this.
But they weren't gonna leave. Sorry.
Yes, they were. If Seattle and Las Vegas did not have open gyms and things ready, I would not be as crazy as I was.
I'll have my people talk to your people, and we'll settle it there. I don't think they're leaving. And based on everything I'd heard, they were not leaving. But Clay Bennett did not become the enemy of the world. It's just so he could be like, oh, well, I don't want a team anymore. No, they weren't leaving. They were not leaving. But I'm glad they're here. You know what? The guarantee that they're here is the best part. Simply,
yeah.
End of story. And that 2050 clause is why it's a good deal. Like it is both. It can be both.
Yep.
It's a long way away.
Yep.
It's a long way away.
Long way
away. Are we gonna be alive? We'll see.
Let's hope
we
so.
will see. Let's hope. Yes.
Stay out of Thunder Alley, and maybe you'll laugh.
That's true. It's not it's Thunder Boulevard.
Yeah, we'll workshop that name.
No, we need to call it court because it puts in like the cul-de-sac.
I love it on court, and it's not that. It's okay.
Yeah, we need a cul-de-sac feel to it. Thunder cul-de-sac, because those are always safe. They're better than main streets and thoroughways.
That's
so.
Right. Jason, we've talked a lot about Thunder. I know you said like 45 minutes. We've just been riffing off each other, having a good time. I had 3 more fun questions. Let's close with the fun little segment. You good for it?
Let's go.
All right, just roll, Dylan. I'll shut up. I'm good at that.
You're good. Hey, you can riff off. You're good. So, this can be as rapid fire as you need to be. What's been your favorite moment covering the NBA?
Wow. Definitely the 2011 NBA Finals. Again, it wouldn't be as good without the pain that came before it. For sure. But between 2006 and 2011, I was the most miserable sports fan to watch sports with. I was watching every game, and I'd be like, it's rigged, right? They'll just do whatever. I was being such an asshole to watch a game with. 2006 Finals sucked. Shout out Dwayne Wade. Shout out the Bennett Salvatore, the great referee. Really fucked us there. And then 2007, obviously the Warriors killed us, and it was tough times for Dirk. And Dallas was sort of over the next few years, the local radio stations called us the one and done boys, and nobody had any, every ESPN analyst, every person was picking against Dallas every single series. Portland, Thunder, Lakers, Miami, all of them. And that was as close to a Disney movie as you could get. And I've said this before. It's it's kind of wild knowing that I've already lived my greatest sports moment. I know it. There's nothing that's going to top that. You know what I mean? So, and then Mark Cuban broke up the team. So great stuff.
Man, did you get to go to any of the games or?
No, I didn't go. I was living in Chicago. I had no money. So,
gotcha.
but the game-winning game, all my Chicago friends came over to watch me watch the game. I was like a zoo animal, sitting there watching it, and they all sprayed champagne on me. It was great. I got super drunk, bought $700 worth of shit that I regret, but I still own. I have 4 mouse pads that say champions. It's insane.
That's awesome.
So, but that's what, and stuff like that, not to constantly bring it back to this dumb political thing, but it is stuff like that is why having a team is important. And I think if you believed that the Thunder were leaving, then it's a no-brainer vote yes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyways, but it's stuff like that. It's like my kid's gonna remember that. It's gonna be passed on forever. Like it's ingrained in you. It's awesome.
They're gonna go to the safety deposit box and be like, "What the fuck? Why does Dad have all these mouse pads in here?"
I got two of those like license plate that goes. The borders are license plate.
Oh yes.
I never put that on any of my. Like I don't know. I don't even.
Dude, no, one needs to go on tomorrow. All right, you just need to make it happen. Throw it on there tomorrow, fresh out the box. Like you're set.
I mean, why not, right?
It was.
Yeah. If I ever see it, I know exactly what car you're in, so it'd be even better.
I'm that guy.
All right, here we go. Next question: did you ever come to blows with Bill Simmons or Ryan Rosillo over their Russ takes?
No, I did disagree with Bill about his Russ takes, though. Like, I guess you try not to go to blow with your boss.
Yeah. But it was tongue in cheek.
I did. Like I have passionately, like in the common space, gotten into it with like KOC and those guys, and just been like, you guys are like rewriting a narrative about a player, and I'm telling you, history is going to prove you wrong, because for a long time this guy was insanely good, and I think that a combination of injuries, his teammate bailing to go play for the other team. Like there's a bunch of like people try to say like Kevin O'Connor will tweet stuff like he's never won anything. And it's like, man, but he was awfully close. And he got like, I guess if you want to count, like hit the prime years in which he could have won, like a lot of those years were ruined by some weird injury by either KD or Russ.
Patrick Beverly,
or, and it's like they were really close to beating that Golden State team that everybody talks like, like that wasn't a thing. And you can make an argument that if KD was the sort of guy, probably would have won. So it's sort of one of those things. But I have argued to death with people about that. I used to say I wanted to do a video series where it was like a tag team takes or whatever. So you had 4 in each corner, and like you could tag in and out. And Tyler and I were always going to be on the Russ side. We were going to do Russ, like just the Russ narrative, and then we were going to do another one on Dirk versus KG, because that split the office in half too. So
wow, that would have been amazing.
That's an interesting one too. That one's good.
Yeah.
I love that. All right, hey, this is seasonal, man. 'Tis the season. What's your favorite Christmas movie?
Oh wow, what a question. Probably Elf. I know that's not like, and it's like, do you count Nightmare Before Christmas? Because I think that's a great movie.
My family loves Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, we love it over here too. But yeah, I think the Elf is just like, it just can be on. I'm not mad at it. Some Christmas movies are on, you're just like, God, get it off. I'm never mad at Elf. Like, I don't know. Yeah. So I don't watch a ton, but whatever. I find most Christmas movies to kind of suck, but it's fine.
Yeah. You got some classics, and like you said, Elf is a good one.
Yeah.
Jerry, what's your favorite one?
Gosh, it has to be Home Alone 1 and 2. I can watch both of those and laugh just as much.
Which one's your favorite? You got to pick one.
Oh man, Bird Lady kind of creeps me out. Number 2, but the storyline is like really fun.
Yeah.
1 is just so classic. I'll have to go with 1 because it's like it's more relatable.
It's great, and like the iconic, the scenes are more iconic in that one.
Yeah. I mean, the Kevin scene in the airport. Like anybody that I know is Kevin, they get at least one scream like that. So got to be Home Alone. What about you, Dylan?
See, I mean, we actually had this debate on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. I don't think he was on, but we had like Twitter questions, and it was Home Alone 1 or Home Alone 2. And I picked Home Alone 2 just because, like, I feel like you got to see Kevin in his bag a little bit more. Like, he was in familiar territory at his house, but like,
agreed.
He really had to think on his toes, like in New York, like going to that abandoned house that like his aunt and uncle was doing work on. Like, you really got to see him in his bag. So I always appreciated that more as a kid.
Have you guys ever seen the take? My buddy Jason Concepcion came up with it, and he wrote it for Grantland, and then it blew up. But it was that Kevin grows up to be the saw guy, the jigsaw saw guy.
Oh my gosh!
You ever seen that? He like
I
has
haven't, but that
this
seems
whole
like something
fan
Jason would
theory
do.
about like it all started when burglars tried to, and then he became this like master like sort of contraption guy, and Kevin grows up to be Jigsaw.
I'm gonna
That's
have
amazing.
to actually go watch that now because that's gonna be really good.
I'll pass along the article. It's great.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, Jason, that's all we got, man. That's the whole podcast. I can't thank you enough for coming on in the first place, but for staying on almost double the time you said you would. You were most gracious. It was a great time having you on. And this is the part where we let you plug all the stuff that you're working on, where people can find your work.
Well, right now I'm in the middle of a few projects, but I can't really talk about them yet. So right now we'll just talk about the podcast. We just crossed 1 million subscribers on YouTube. So if you haven't yet,
nice.
did that yesterday. It was a momentous day for our company. So if you are on YouTube and you haven't subscribed, do it, please. And then that's it. We got a great episode with Austin Reeves dropping tomorrow. A lot of fun stuff. I don't know much about him, but like that guy's a straight up like hick. Like it's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, I don't think definitely fit in Norman. He definitely fit in down there.
Yeah, he's the man. And I didn't know that he was like I didn't know he was like a LeBron hater either growing up. And so that got brought up on the podcast, which I found to be like I found it to be very charming. So
listen, and I don't know if you could actually say this or not, but we had Jalen Williams on the podcast. Mm-hmm. Is there going to be any other Thunder players in the future, possibly?
Definitely. We got a good relationship with them now. No, it was great. It was actually awesome because we taped it right downtown at a place called Lampstand, which is in Film Row, and some of the Thunder people that kind of control the yeses and the nos, and we all had a great time. And they I mean, like, look, we love the Thunder. Like it's not bullshit. Like we all love the team, and Jalen Williams is like weirdly one of JJ's top like 5 players like in the league right now. Like he loves them. And so amazing. Yeah, we're hoping to have a couple more. So yeah, that's as best I can say. I don't want to overpromise, under deliver. You know what it is.
I'm excited either way. I'm an avid listener of the show. And it just makes me click that much faster if I see a Thunder player. So Jason.
It was funny, like for the longest time, Thunder fans would like at us almost every episode and be like, "You're avoiding the Thunder." And we're like, "We're promised we're not. We're desperately trying to get a player." But I think the ball is going to roll a lot faster now. Now that y'all are good too. It's like we got to get these, award campaigns going. Come on, bring them on the show. Let's talk about it. So
let's get it, man. I love it. Well, Jason, like I said, doing awesome work there with JJ Eck and Old Man in the 3. Subscribe if you guys have not on YouTube and anywhere you listen to your podcast. Jason, once again, thanks for coming on. It was an awesome time. We'd love to have you back on another time.
Yeah, thanks, gentlemen.
After the championship parade.
Yes.
Which one, Mavs or Thunder?
Oh, man. Do you got a time machine so we can go back?
Oh, you're so right. I hate it. Thanks, guys.
But hey, with that being said, we're going to conclude the podcast. Hope everybody has a great night. God bless. Hoop when you can. And as always, Thunder up.
Thunder up.